This is Bhekuzulu Khumalo again from the Freedom Bunker. Today's question from Quora.com, it's a prompt, reads, who had a greater understanding of mathematics, physics, and philosophy, Einstein or Newton? This is a highly politically and ideologically charged question because a true scientist wouldn't talk like that about such two great minds. And I'll explain it to you why. Our modern physics comes from Galileo Galilei. His works are the precursor to Newton's three laws, and his works on gravity are outstanding. He's the one who told us everything falls at the same speed, which would be proven years later with vacuums. Think about this. This is in 16 something. And it would take maybe 350 years to prove him correct. He gave us the ideas of mathematical trajectory, understand. He attempted to measure the speed of light. Galileo. Let's talk about people like Nikolai Copernicus. The earth goes around the sun. Galileo spent the rest of his life in house prison because he supported Copernicus. Yes. So, now when we talk about Newton, he gave us good stuff on light. He gave us the three laws of motion. He enhanced our understanding of gravity. He gave us improved telescope lenses, And calculus is debatable at best. There are lots of claims to that. There's Leibniz, there is Bhaskara from India, there are lots of Persian mathematicians. There are a lot of people who have a claim to calculus, just not Newton. I am not a British. I am not going to lie for Newton. But obviously what I've said, those are fantastic contributions. And I want you to remember those three laws of motion because they are going to be so relevant. I'm telling you, the future cannot deal without them. We're talking even in quantum mechanics, but nobody has realized that yet. Let's talk about Einstein now. Einstein gave us the light, quantized light for us. With Newton, we thought it was a wave. Einstein showed us it's a particle, it's a quanta, the electrophotonic voltaic effect. And then Einstein's model of gravity replaces Newton's model of gravity. It doesn't mean that Einstein's a smarter person, you understand. He uses calculus, a tool which was highly developed by Newton, So to Einstein, so you cannot then say one is smarter than the other in that way, Einstein gave us the way to count atoms, the Bose-Einstein condensate. This is fantastic stuff. He gave us relativity. This goes with gravity, with the replacing of Newton's ideas of gravity, Newton's realities of gravity at the time. A lot of it is still true. You use it for calculations. A lot of it is still true today. And like calculus, it's debatable. As for Einstein, E equals mc squared, it is not debatable. That equation belongs to De Prato. You understand? He was an Italian industrialist mathematician, one of the Italian geniuses, like Einstein, a genius in those terms. Not that I actually believe in the term genius, because I know everything's relationships, and these are random relationships, but we'd call it De Prato an Italian genius. Gave us E is equal to mc squared from observing. Do you understand? He was observing uranium. He worked out E is equal to mc squared 3 years before Einstein from observing uranium, from experimentation. Do you understand that? I understand that. So I am not a Jew, like I'm not a British who's going to support calculus comes from Newton. I'm not a Jew, and I will not support that E equals mc squared comes from Einstein. I know it comes from de Prato. Now, Newton is basically out. Now, this is up to you to understand. And again, there's a lot of politics involved, like everything's in a relationship, and all these relationships are random, brings back Newton into everything. You understand? That and all these relationships, the cost is energy. And this is a very important concept. That's why the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation brought down my interview because of politics and replaced me with Lee Smolin, who is the head of the Perimeter Institution, one of these billionaire-backed institutions. Now, this has literally happened because that's how important everything's in a relationship, and all these relationships energy costs. It brings back Newton into the quantum age. Trying to take the idea that everything's in a relationship comes from me. Lee Smolin went and lied and tried to tie it up to Einstein. No, it has moved on from Einstein and explained why Einstein couldn't understand why the mouse changes the universe when the freaking moon, when the mouse looks at the moon. It's not from Einstein. It's not from Lee Smolin. Even if the billionaires back them and they control the media, it's not from him, even if they bring down my interview. It brings back Newton because everything's in a relationship. Again, these Platos are useful. See, they're in a relationship. What does it take to break up a relationship? Be it an atom, be it a human, be it a wood, be it planet. You need a force greater than whatever's holding the relationship together. And that's directly tied to one of Newton's laws of motion, which was you need a greater force or something to change the direction of something. This is exactly it. So Newton's principles are deeply involved in quantum mechanics, in quantum physics, because we now understand everything's in a relationship and all this relationship costs energy. So Newton is not finished in the classical realm. He's reintroduced through the discoveries of magnetism and stuff and the theories that led to discoveries of magnetism. He's brought back. So Newton's very important. Is Einstein brought back in that depth of a way, deep into quantum mechanics? I mean, Newton was counted for the bell, People had already said, it's like a boxer, you've hit him, he's on count 9. And then we realize everything's in a relationship. And he's up and steady. And it takes energy, same energy or more than what's holding him to break it. That is exactly Newton's law. Exactly. So who's greater is up to you. But I say we learn with time, we progress, and you shouldn't really care. Get on with your experiments and find stuff out. Cheers. Good night from the Freedom Bunker.